Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this podcast. It's number 25, and I am very, very happy to welcome here Susan Brown, an amazing and inspiring woman who has created things that are still shaping our lives, right? For instance, Susan worked with Steve Jobs at Apple in the 80s. She created the Ethernet standard. Correct me if like I'm not a tech guy, but the Ethernet standard that then was absolutely vital about 20 years later to be the basis for what we see as the internet and the infrastructure today. And she also worked with Microsoft Web TV. She developed something around I'm totally curious about because I read it about her. She developed wireless email, which she then later sold to Motorola slash Google. And she has a number of patents for tech things that are super important for the Internet of Things apparently today, right? Yep. And now at the pinnacle of her creative power, she has
That's
decided
right.
after all
Save
this
the best for last.
yeah, exactly, after all these minuscule contributions to human destiny,
Yeah.
she decided to make something happen that is literally a dream come true. It's a mechanism that allows you to tokenize you, to tokenize your own flow. So by being in the flow, becoming rich in a material sense, which is just on so many levels absolutely awesome. So with this long intro that I made here, I would like to welcome Susan Brown. Well, you already
Thank
said
you,
something.
Philip.
I'm so happy we met a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
we met in Zurich, Switzerland. That's where the company was founded.
yeah,
So you're kind of my home away from home. And yes, so we, as the name goes, it's called Token of Me. And we are measuring, validating, and rewarding you becoming a better version of yourself. So it's a newer kind of abundance that is not just money, but it's more about the abundance of you being a better version of yourself. So biometrically, you can now measure.
sorry, you went lost. The connection broke down when you said biometrically. Can you go back
Okay,
to biometrically?
yeah, I sure will. Right. So now the soul compass, we can biometrically measure your heart coherency, your allowance, your alignment, your balance, and your resonance with your soul, with your true self. Like, when are you flowing the better version of yourself? When are you, for instance, when are you following your heart?
Uh,
Uh,
so there was an interruption again at better version of yourself.
Sorry about that. I have to
No
remember what
problem, no
I'm.
problem.
Okay. Maybe I should just repeat it. Yeah, apologies, Philip, for this is normally a great connection, but okay. So we can now reward you when you hit the sweet spot, when your heart sings, when you are following your purpose, when you are resonating with your soul. We can now reward you for your improvement, for really allowing yourself to flow and follow your heart.
Wow, wow. And how did you get to this amazing idea? Like, it's like I have it too, right? So I have to say it's pretty simple. right?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
just before we go into like the intricacies of how you got there, it's like
yeah.
you just use, like in my case, a 100 franc Garmin watch. You tie it
Hmm.
up with your phone, you put the software on, and that's it. And then it measures your flow. It's
That's
it's,
right.
it's as easy
That's
as
right.
that.
Yeah, you just acquire a compatible wearable. You subscribe to our biometric feedback analysis for a few bucks a month, and we'll give you real-time feedback on a mobile app or a web interface. And we'll even notify you when you hit the sweet spot, like when you're in a flow state or in a deep connected state with the divine.
So for the people who are not totally familiar with all of the terminology that we're using here, what is that even good for? Like, why should I want to be like in this state?
It is the ideal state. It's a state of power, like you're more clear. So a flow state, for instance, it's when you feel tremendous trust, peace, inspiration to create. It's when the musician writes the hit song. It's when the athlete breaks the record. It's when the engineer is a genius and gets the bright idea. It's the pinnacle. It's self-actualization. So, and it's perfect because it resonates with love and joy, and like you're happier, you're more fulfilled, you're more alive, and you have tremendous value, not just for yourself, but everyone around you. You become a win-win person full of solutions instead of problems. You find the blessings in disguise. So you're coming from love instead of lack. So much so that even our tokenomics for the ownership of the company, to even vote, you have to be in a higher state and resonate with love instead of lack and fear. Because that is so valuable. That's where clarity comes from, and
And
wisdom.
and also for the people who are not entirely familiar with the terminology, why do you even end up saying something like lack and fear? Like this sounds, like obviously the flow state is something very distinct, something very easy to recognize, and you will know when you're in the flow. I mean, when I make music, I'm
Yeah,
gone for
yeah,
hours. It's like, and then I wake up again. Oh my God, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and I love what I'm doing.
right.
And and then as a kind of a juxtaposition, you're bringing up this idea of fear and lack. I mean, Susan, is this the state of the world where we need something that brings us out of fear and lack?
We don't necessarily need it. This is more like a tool to accelerate the personal journey. And a lot of people, even when you're on the upside, like in a flow state, sometimes it feels like accident. You don't even like, how did that happen? I want some more of that. So it's really a tool to not just, get up from the bottom, but how to calibrate and cultivate this better version of yourself that is really satisfying. It's to connect the dots, as above, so below. And the work is inside. If you could change the way you feel and what you're thinking, and that's why we call it a soul compass, because you're the vehicle, and it's helping you to connect the dots and actually choose better feeling thoughts that lead to greater power, greater satisfaction, greater alignment, greater relief and freedom and abundance, like real abundance. So sure, it can help you even if you're having a bad day. um, and we actually designed it to be a tool where you are the baseline, and like I'm not compared to you and nobody else. It's just me with me. and we're measuring your ability to calibrate with a better, true version of yourself.
Yeah, and we both know how difficult it can be, right, to lift
Yeah,
yourself out
absolutely.
of a bad situation, of bad mood. But
Yeah,
what often characterizes this type of state is the presence of thoughts that are not helpful, as you so
right.
beautifully pointed out just before. And are you saying we're now through token of me able basically to measure the physical impact that our
Yes,
thinking has?
absolutely. Yes.
Wow, that is.
Yeah. Like I'm gonna show you two things to really bring this home.
Mhm.
First thing I'm gonna show you is our advanced analysis on the web. And for instance, like on January 10th, I had a deep meditation. And what's really, really obvious, you can't miss it, is this giant spike in my heart power. And at the same time, I have a giant spike in my heart rate variability, which is our new definition of coherence. And so this is my highlight of my day. I'm able to see that that meditation really struck a chord, and I would be rewarded for that, for figuring this out. That's the first thing that I wanted to point out that we're able to do right now. And the next phase that we're working on, which I'm really excited about, is literally gamifying emotional and mental well-being. We are working on right now a tool with AI using the biometric feedback to determine how are you feeling. Like, let's say you are having a bad day, you're feeling down here, or you had a bad dream. We could help you move up and measure that feedback in your pulse. You're literally in your heart rate and in your pulse. We can our goal is to help you change the way you feel and let go of those thoughts that are not serving you, because we all want to go up, right? We all want to work our way up to freedom and abundance and appreciation and passion and joy in life. But a lot of people are stuck, on the lower half here, and they don't know quite how to get the momentum going to cross the chasm here. The tipping point is boredom right here, to move up through, because there's momentum. Once you can start moving past it, it literally sort of comes for free. You can keep going. So we are on the cusp of rewarding everyone to figure out how to feel better, how to choose thoughts and notice that it's actually causing a different reality. And the ultimate game is life. And now people can actually, using this tool, their whole life could transform. You would really figure out how to live your purpose using this tool.
So you're saying that living a purpose puts people in the flow?
Absolutely. It sort of it's sort of a catch-22, right? If you figured out what your purpose is, you're living in a state of appreciation and satisfaction, and there's resonance. So it's gonna pull you up or hold you there and take you further. If you're stuck in a job that is not your purpose, you're probably swimming in the lower half there with a lot of resistance, not a lot of satisfaction, and your metrics will show you that. And so the question is, do you want to be happy? Do you want to change? Would you like to be free? Would you like to find your purpose if you haven't found it? Because this could help you.
Something interesting I came across was that when I watched a movie, my metrics would go up,
Hmm.
right? I would end up
Yeah.
in a flow state, but as soon as the movie was over, I would go down again.
Yeah, sure.
But
Well, that makes sense because if you're watching anything, any content that is inspiring to you or opening your heart, and has less resistance in it, it's causing a focus within you that is rising, and we can measure that. Now, like for instance, I was at an Abraham Hicks live seminar, and she speaks for an hour and then there's a break and then she speaks again, and my metrics went up while I'm just in the audience, and then when the break comes I go down. Like it's like clockwork, and that's part of the early experience with the soul compass, is just noticing what moves the needle. And it's figuring out that, oh, well, when I watched this movie, I went up, but when I watched that movie, I went down. And we want to create something called flow tube, where as you go up watching the content, you get rewarded, and so does the content creator. And in this way, we can actually disrupt social media that currently you get points for fear. You know, you actually can become quite of an influencer negatively currently on social media. You can pull people because fear sells, right? But with our version of FlowTube, like if we see that you're going down, we change the content. Like it's just not allowed. So you can only go up using FlowTube with some of the techniques that I just showed you, knowing how you're feeling, seeing if you're going up or down, and changing the movie, right? You want to change the movie out there, and then you want to change the movie that's going on in here. Like, right? So you can do it either way. We're it's kind of like a Trojan horse. We're helping you to realize that what's out there starts in here. And if you notice that where you put your attention causes you to go up or down, you'll then get more clear about where you want to put your attention. Because if you can change what you're projecting here, your whole world will change.
And there's something that we've already discussed, which I find very, very fascinating, is the opportunities in marketing that this really offers. Because for the first time in human history, marketing could be something that is not out there to manipulate, but
Right.
that can actually, in a reproducible fashion,
Mm-hmm.
demonstrate that the
Mm-hmm.
company who produces the goods and services that you're using really has your best interest in mind.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
because it would mean that for instance, if you use a specific type of, I don't know, sports gear or whatever, and you're having a good time and you're having fun, you could,
Yeah.
as a sports company, you could say, share with us what
Yeah,
happens to your flow
absolutely.
state
Yeah. I
as
mean,
you
you
are.
know, my favorite example of this is on running shoes. If we could help them ground the shoe and ground you, and the user's wearing a soul compass, and more people get runner's high with this particular shoe that's really like serving you, then you get rewarded, and so does the product partner. So now, instead of just being about advertising, a company like On or anyone else can actually more authentically say, we really want you to be satisfied with our product. And so much so that if you will, freely share your data, we will use that data, make sure that our product, it gets better for you. Because if we know when you're using our product and it's improving your life experience or your performance with our equipment, well, now we're not just words. Now we genuinely and authentically want to have this product be of value to you. So that becomes really powerful as a tool for, especially product placement or even content. If I pay for something, and like one of my other favorite ideas is an artist can offer free, the first tickets to their concert, if people watch a promo video and it clearly, makes their heart sing and they get goosebumps, that could be the way to unlock the ticket, to find the best audience for what you have, people who really resonate. That's an incredible way, instead of just money, just pay more, to be the first choice for content and for concerts
Yeah,
is
and building on that, you could basically then say, okay, we're using we're paying the artist with the tokens that are being
that's right.
mined from the audience in their concert.
That's
Right?
right.
And,
Absolutely.
and it's not just
Yeah,
it's not just the concert scene that would change. It could also be the
right.
music scene as a whole.
Absolutely. I mean, this is in our original patent filings, that an athlete can now say, like, who would like a token of me when I score or when I win? You could get in on that by, all you got to do is literally focus on this moment of value and truth, and being in a flow state. And if you can flow with me, you get a token as well. So it's like this win-win reward mechanism. And an artist on stage can say the same thing. I think I used Pink as my example, where she could say, who would like a token of me? Who's not going to want that? And you just have to flow when she sings to you, and it can even be in a recording. It doesn't have to be live. So it's a new way to monetize and reward true value, true upliftment.
And it's also,
That,
yeah.
yeah, like, and that's what these artists and athletes would love. That's way more valuable than just a fan card or a like button, is knowing that, like, they've really uplifted you.
And what inspires me so much about what you say is the fact that with your previous ideas,
Mhm.
you have been 20 years ahead of your time.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
blessing and a curse.
yeah,
It's a
because you have to overcome resistance because people don't
yeah,
understand it. But
yeah,
then when the time is right, like everybody was
that's
like, oh
right.
yeah, obviously it's always been like this before, it's very clear, right?
Yeah, I
Many,
mean, the famous German philosopher, right? All great truths go through three phases. The first, it's you know, defiantly rejected, and then it's ridiculed,
yeah,
right? And then it's accepted as truth.
we've always
Eventually,
done it like this.
always about timing. And so, yeah, I mean, when I was doing wireless back in 1991,
Yeah,
I thought it was going to come faster because Ethernet came in faster, and it took 20 years. And
it's
so,
amazing.
yeah, all these patented ideas, they just tend to be 20 years ahead of the curve. And I've since learned how to wait for the right timing and not push it any faster than it wants to go, because there's a sweet spot as well with technology and timing, and when the market is ready for something like this.
It's almost as if you have been doing this over the last couple of years, like 30, 40
Yeah.
years, to be prepared
Yeah.
to see what's going on with Token of Me, what you're doing now. So you have the experience and the stamina to keep going because
Yes.
personally what excites me so much about Token of Me is the fact that whatever angle I look at it, it produces value.
There you go.
You
Yes,
know,
that's right. Yeah.
I'm a
Correct.
sales guy. I've been in sales and marketing for 20 years, and I can see so much how this very honest and basically trustless blockchain
Mhm.
wise type of
Mhm.
approach to saying, hey, we really want your best as our client.
Yes.
this
Yes.
is this is
Yes.
absolutely, this is revolutionary. This is
Absolutely. Yeah.
and I'm so honored you're on this podcast. This is still a small podcast, not many people are listening to this, but I'm very confident that people will listen to this conversation. And I invite everybody listening to this right now to just, after they're done listening,
Hmm.
after they stop the tape, so to speak, uh, just take a couple minutes and just think about what that
Daydream,
means. You
daydream
know,
about what's gonna be possible with this. You said trustless, because that's the tagline, but this is really trustful. It's really the opposite. We are turning even blockchain on its head. You know, one of the first patents we filed was one of the original NFTs. It's just that term didn't exist 5 years ago, right? And when I talked about it, everyone just thought I was crazy. They're like, why would anyone want like one token of one? You know, I'm like, I don't know, but I just know, you know. And so to touch on another point you made, I can see the future. And that's what I learned from Steve Jobs. It's why I went to work for Apple. It's why I followed him, because people who are in a flow state are in a timeless state. We can even see that in the metrics, by the way. Your heart slows way down in a
yeah,
flow state. It's a time stopping moment, okay? And in some people it happens by an emergency or an accident, you know, and like near death experiences go into slow motion, and like there's other ways to trigger it. I don't recommend the near death experience ways,
if you have a
but
near death experience, call me and
yeah, 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 yeah,
I'll
sign
gift
up.
you a token of me
Yeah,
account.
exactly. But so yeah, people like Steve and others in Silicon Valley that I worked with, these were geniuses, and what made them geniuses was figuring out how to get into this incredible coherent state that we're measuring.
And
That's when you trust yourself. That's when you literally, your mind, your human mind now is resonating with higher mind. And it's the higher mind that knows everything and can see the whole playing field beyond the physical reality. And you can receive. And that's what happened to me. You asked a question earlier, how did I get this idea? It was literally, I received it. I heard a calling, you know, right there in Switzerland. You know, Roger that, Roger that. Like I
Roger
heard
that. I
a
remember
calling.
that in 2019, you came up
Yeah,
with that. I was like, not so sure. But then I came back to you like a couple months ago and I'm like, woo, I'm all in, you know?
yeah, yeah. I mean, when you get a calling in a flow state, and I've since had dreams that I intended to do this. This is my life's purpose. This is what I was born to do. You cannot not do it. So it's inevitable. Like
Wow.
this is not even a mental decision. This is a soul decision. Like I would be miserable if I didn't do this. I have knowing that this is in the future for me and for humanity. We
Wow.
are embarking on a very powerful tool that will usher in a higher degree of self actualization, a higher degree of just love, coherency, wisdom, trust, peace, satisfaction. Like everything that we all want can come in a higher level of abundance than we have previously been allowing it to come. There's a lot of false beliefs out there that are holding people back and keeping them from quitting their job and choosing their purpose, right? But if you can find the sweet spot with the soul compass, then you're off to the races. You know, you cannot not pursue that which you have resonance with, because it's what you were born to do. And if
Absolutely.
you don't do it, you're going to be miserable and have a lot of resistance, and life will suck. So, you know, like, what do you want? Do you want to be happy, or do you want to like stick to the knitting? Um,
Stick to the knitting. Happy
you
on knitting.
know?
this this will make us a lot of resistance from the knitting community. No,
Exactly,
you
exactly.
can't be happy and knit. Yeah, I mean, I love what you're saying, and you know, I would like to add in my personal experience towards feeling this person, this purpose, because I was in this hamster wheel, in this treadmill for a very long time. And then in 2017, I said, I was 35. I said, I'm quitting this job. I'm leaving. I need to find my potential, my purpose. Because
Yeah.
there have been a lot of people around me who said, you're to the rim full with good stuff, with purpose. And I looked in the mirror and I said, I don't see it. And so
Yeah.
what I did eventually was like I went to the office, being the account manager, the sales guy that I was at the time, and I started to try to be more efficient because I knew there was I could be a lot better than I was doing. I wasn't like I was middle ground. Like I wasn't bad, I wasn't good. It was just like that, but it never felt okay for me. It always
Right.
was it always was something, where I felt, okay, I'm doing this because it's a job, it pays me good money, it's relatively easy for me. But every day there was this voice whispering
Hmm.
inside of
Sure.
me that went
Yeah.
like, there's more to it, there's more to it, there's
Right.
more to it, there's more to it. And I tried to figure it out, and still, like, kind of fitting into the world from like Haaske, the famous university in Switzerland, like into this world. You're with your business friends, and you drink alcohol, and back in the time I was like, I need to have sex in order to feel okay, stuff like that, right? And and then in 2017, it was one day when I very clearly decided I'm out, and then I called my boss and said I'm out, and wow, everything went very fast. I was well supported, and within 2 weeks, I was out of an office that I've been in for 7 years. Right,
Amazing. Yeah.
that was really crazy, and then I
Well, I
said,
mean, burnout is a real thing too. People are burning out. I mean, that's
yeah,
just
and
the friction. That's resistance. You're
yeah,
not
because
following your heart. You're
and
pushing it, you're forcing it, you're
yeah,
disciplining yourself, and you're going against yourself, and there's no value.
and the thing exactly, and I'm pretty, the thing, I'm very lucky because I think I don't have the disposition for burnout, but it's not like I can work against myself for a very long time, but instead I am driven to change when it needs to change. And then I went out into like after 2017, I went out into self-employment,
Mhm.
and I thought that solved my problem, but it didn't solve the problem because it looked like I was out of the hamster wheel, but the hamster wheel was still inside of me, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
so I just projected everything onto my own self, onto my job, onto the new thing that I was doing, onto the coaching, and I pushed myself very hard. I mean, I was financially very successful,
Mhm.
but I wasn't happy inside. There was this nagging question: what is it still? Like this, like this is not it. What is it? What is it? What is it? And then it was only last year, 2023, in September, October, when I decided I'm stopping everything. And all I did was allow the silence,
Mhm.
and just like process the feelings that came up. It was like, you know, maybe you've been on a boat and then you stop it very abruptly, and the wave kind of comes from the back,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
like the wake from the boat,
Yeah.
like
You
kind of floods the boat. And
get
that's how
nauseated,
that's how it
seasick.
felt. And so I was just like, for weeks I just like bucket
Interesting.
by bucket, I put the water out of the boat. I cleansed it up, and I said, and I swore to myself, I'm not going to do anything before I can feel it.
Right.
And I will
Perfect.
take as much time as I need.
Great.
I will not, I was scared. I
Sure.
was like, is money gonna last?
Mhm.
Will I ever find it? How do I know what it is? What will this flow type of state, this like, yes, this is my purpose type of state, what will it feel like? Because I'd never had it in my entire life.
Yes. Right.
And then it was November, December. It's not long ago. We're January now. When all of a sudden something started to materialize that for the first time in my life felt connected and solid. after I have been, like one of my clients said, running around like a chicken with the head cut off
Yeah. And that's
for
when we reconnected.
decades.
Yeah.
And when this shifting moment happened at the end of November, that is when we met.
I know, exactly.
You
I know.
know,
I mean, we
that is
already
when,
met, but we needed the time to re-meet when
and
you were ready.
and this thing, I talk to you and I'm like, okay, good. I need to have the experience. I need to be a part of this experience. I want to know what, like what's going on, because I very quickly realized this connection between this magic state of flow where you're able to do stuff.
Yep.
Like for instance, yesterday I wrote the first chapter of my online course, which is Find Your Purpose, which will come out in February. And I wrote the first chapter, and it is one page, like one A4 page. Like, I don't know how many words. It took me max, I don't know how much time it was, max 10 minutes.
Exactly. I
It
mean, you can,
was
but
bam,
yeah, there you go. Boom. Then you're in it. Yeah.
and my friend said, "What? You want to create an online course in such a short amount of time? This is
Yep.
not going to be enough time." I'm
Right.
like,
Because the old world thinks it's time, effort, sacrifice, suffering, no gain without pain.
"Oh,
And
yes.
that's the old world. The new world is this timeless state where the magic happens and it doesn't cost. You are in this powerful state, and that's when you receive in a timeless way the answers, the solutions, the gifts, the wisdom, the knowing. It just rushes in, and that's why musicians and can write a hit song, and it's usually, if you ask them, they're almost always done in just a matter of minutes.
Yep."
you know
And it was a rough journey for me.
Sure.
It was I had to face my fears, which turned out to be like very real on one hand, and on the other hand, once I decided to really look them in the eye and to go straight through it, not that means basically, it means not to act on it, right? So
Right.
when you say I'm stopping everything now, there's almost certainly there's the hamster wheel inside of you that starts to talk and goes like, yeah, but you should. Or what about the money? And what are people going to say?
Right. Yeah.
That's the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, I was fortunate. I was like, I stuck to it. I was like, I hear
Good.
you. And believe me, there were 2 nights that were really bad when my brother drove over to my place. He lives about 30 minutes from here. He drove over to my place because we've been on the phone, and he goes like, you don't sound well. And I didn't sound well. I was scared. I
Sure.
didn't feel good. And then I walked through it, and I came out very calm and peacefully.
Yes. Yep.
Changed my life.
Yeah, you see, it doesn't have to be that hard. It can be, and it often is, but it doesn't have to be. And with people like you, Philip, who've been through it, and as a very experienced coach, you're now in a position to actually guide people through this process where they don't have to face their fears. There's an easier way. They can accept them, and they can move up that emotional scale and get relief and be soothed. And the soul compass will let you know and your client know when they are, in fact, having a shift, when they're transforming successfully. And you don't go any faster than they're ready to go, because that will trigger more fear and they'll just slip right back. So I guess what I'm trying to say is what's coming is a new way, an easier way to get relief, to move above depression, fear, and get to a place of acceptance, and then slowly, don't go too fast, or as I said, you revert back. And so it's about not going, not rushing yourself, being more loving about it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're working on, is a virtual, a tool that you could use, clients can use, and eventually a complete system that talks to you and asks you and helps you improve and let go. And because believe it or not, some people can improve dramatically just by surrendering. There's tremendous amount of energy that is released. Have you ever been trying really hard to make something happen, and then like as soon as you like give up, it then works, it comes in?
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of people who are
Yeah.
dying, of something, as soon as they give up the fight, like they have a magical recovery. And if you could figure out how to simply improve, you don't have to be in a flow state or be at the top of your game. You could be down here at the bottom. And all you have to do is move the needle ever so gently in the direction of relief. And we will let you know. And so you have this feedback now, whereas before you didn't have it. So you were on the rough, raw, ragged edge, going through the dark night of the soul all by yourself with, which way is up? Am I going up? I don't know, and so that's why it's called a soul compass, to give you guidance on which way, is your source flowing, which way is your soul line, because your true self is eternal. There is like no physical death either, and your true self is in the flow of liquid love and abundance. And we know this and we can measure this. And one of the applications we love to release into the world, and this is one of those 20-year plans, but probably still in my lifetime, certainly in yours, we want to offer health insurance with an en instead of in. Insurance pays you when shit happens that you don't want to happen, when you
Yeah.
have an accident, when you get sick. Well, how about insurance that ensures your well-being, and you literally get paid when you get well instead of sick?
Based on
Like,
based on a
like
token.
again,
It
turn
doesn't.
it, yeah, turn it on its head, because
Yeah.
people do
Wow.
self-heal if they can increase how much coherency they are feeling, how much they are allowing. If you could just figure that out, not only would you be happier in your job, but your body would self-heal too, right? So we're going to be in a new world where people aren't going to be able to keep their day job if they're suffering, because there's no value, there's no satisfaction.
And
And it's not about the money. um, More abundance comes, and not just monetarily, but more abundance comes, more health, more wealth, more opportunities, more freedom, more inspiration. You get more of all that stuff that we call abundance, that is worth so much more than just being in the fear of making enough money to pay your bills.
absolutely.
you know
And I feel to round it off a little, I feel we're getting an extra piece of motivation these days, which is artificial intelligence.
yeah,
It removes so many things from our everyday labor.
that's right.
It is
I
it
mean,
is crazy what I can do when I create content.
I know
And
it's
it's
amazing.
insane. The quality, the speed, and the
Everything.
versatility of the tools is crazy. This means that many, many, many jobs are going to change drastically or
Yep.
even disappear.
Yep.
And this will be such a massive wave and so fast that as humans we have to find out what our strength is, and it
Exactly. What
is
our
the
value
flow.
is. Yeah.
It
If you're,
is the
if
flow, it is the purpose, it is where
yes,
the meaning of life sits. It is the connection to the divine. It is to really like be honest about what you're supposed to bring to the planet, as opposed to have a job to make enough money to chase
right,
goals that aren't yours anyways.
right. If AI can do the job, most likely that job is not so satisfying, or could be more satisfying to you as a human if you could use it in a way to focus on improving yourself, because it is the age of abundance. AI is the age of abundance. It's sort of like, it's almost like the mother bird kicking you out of the nest. It's time to fly.
Wow. Wow.
Okay, the time is now. You cannot stay in this nest that is a false illusion of security.
And
Okay, it's pushing people out of their comfort zone, saying, you know what, you could be happier, you could be more satisfied
you
if
could be
you
happier. I like that.
you know if you
Yeah.
just took a chance and listened to your heart, and just like find your way, find your purpose, and we'll help you, and AI will help you. And we're not afraid of AI. AI is a gift to all of us.
Absolutely. I mean,
And if you don't see it that way, that's okay. It probably means you just have some fear around what it might do, but it will never be as intelligent as a human in a flow state.
impossible.
AI is a search engine, and it's only going to make life easier to search boring data, so you don't have to do it, and you can't do it any better anyway. So why don't you do what you do better at? Why don't you do something that is your true value? Because then you will win, and so will everybody else. Instead of
Wow.
holding on to, for fear, this job that a robot can do better, faster, cheaper.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
not your value. If AI or a robot can do it better, faster, cheaper, your value is something else.
I love this. I love this, and I think it's a fantastic note to kind of end this podcast a little. And to everybody who's been listening, I hope you're as excited as we are. We are at the brink of something fundamentally new. Being human, the
Mm-hmm.
experience of being human is changing very, very quickly, and it doesn't come very easily for some of us, like for
No.
me, for instance, because I was very solidly rooted in these old fears and in the old paradigm. So, oh, she's gone. So you are invited to use token of me. You are invited to use the soul compass to, measure
Mm-hmm.
where you're going with your energy and your flow. Susan, what is the best way to get the value of the soul compass of token of me into one's life?
Yeah, the easiest way is to just go to our website, tokenofme.io, and right on the homepage, you can see, you can just click to subscribe and start the ball rolling. Or you can apply for the Soul Compass, and in that case, you might actually get the software for free. Um, and those are the two easiest ways to get involved. You know, on our website, you'll also see we were on a prominent show called the Unicorn Hunters. So we've had some visibility. Um, and so, yeah, it's really becoming a pilot. It's still early. We're looking for pilots, people who really want to discover their power and improve who they are, and really just share in the upside with us. Because what's going to happen here, Philip, is we're going to have a token offering, and it's the pilots who will be minting the tokens with proof of coherence. And our other trademark is mine yourself, because you are the value, and it's not your computer, it's you. And we are prepared to reward you and even share the company with you for figuring it out, for really being an advanced pilot, to lead the way, to be a pioneer.
It's you just said we share the company. This is amazing. This is like you you have really created a field of total fearlessness. You're sacrificing your personality, your ego to
But
this to this.
it's not a sacrifice. It is a love win-win state where we get these ideas and we put a majority of the company into a trust called the mother tree, and the beneficiaries of the trust are our own customers. And it's
Amazing.
not a sacrifice. It came to me in a deep meditation as well. This is the way to make this unstoppable, to make it more valuable, is by literally betting the farm on our own success. And I'm not sacrificing anything, but all my shares are in a trust to the benefit of our customers who are going to inherit the company. So it's my way of having a real live, Ready Player One game of life where the whole company is designed to be decentralized, and even the governance of it is based on whoever figures this out the most. May the flow be with you.
Yeah, and it's this is also very fascinating. I think we could go on for another hour. This is also fascinating in light of a conversation that I've had just yesterday. Maybe you know the Argentinian President Javier Milei. He's an economist, and he has
Mhm.
these neoliberal ideas about how markets should work and how the state should withdraw, and he condemns socialism because socialism has helped to bring down people's wealth and well-being, whereas capitalism has increased it, like historically. And and now out of capitalism is, if you join capitalism with the type of consciousness and love that you bring to the game, Susan, if you join these two forces, then all of a sudden it sounds like socialism,
It's not, though.
but it's not socialism. It comes from the heart. It comes from yes, I am allowed to keep all the benefit for myself, but I choose not to because I want the rest of the world. I want everybody else to be a part of this and to benefit from this just like I do, right? And
It's a
that is
win-win system. And socialism and even donations, those are win-lose. And even capitalism is often based on win-lose and a zero-sum game. The new world is win-win, meaning that there's no sacrifice, and I'm not out of charity sharing. I'm not feeling sorry for people. I'm quite literally sharing and creating. We are creating value by you being your highest value state. And a token can only be minted when a person improves themselves, which is inherently valuable because when you beget more clarity, more joy, more happiness, more ideas, we all win. So it's a win-win token that's only minted when someone improves their state. So it's anti-dilutive, and it's like the opposite of socialism. It's the opposite of capitalism. It doesn't exist yet, but that's what we're bringing into the world,
wow,
is a win-win economic system that will cause everything else to become obsolete, because you cannot compete with a zero sum win lose system, cannot compete with a win win system. And yet we don't have to fight them. We just flow,
wow,
and it the results will speak for themselves.
wow.
It's the difference between inspiration and motivation. It's the difference between control versus trust. Like, if you really get into a resonant state with your true self, you feel infinitely powerful. You feel unstoppable. You're on top of the world, and your heart overflows. Like, and you can't even help it. And there's nothing that can match that power and energy on this planet than a human allowing a surge of love and source energy to flow through them. That's what's coming, is a complete transformation of economics as well, for good,
Wow.
not out of, that's why we don't even focus on donations, because donations is a focus on lack, and that's a disservice. We are providing the greatest service to say, you know what, everyone is born worthy. Every single person can do this, and if you want it, you can have it. And eventually there's nothing else to go for except your truth. And if we all do it, it will cause a massive shift in humanity. And we're very close to that tipping point.
We are. And I want to say thank you for this amazing contribution. This is unique.
My pleasure.
I have not heard anything the like. I have not seen anything the like. And you are guided. You come with this divine power, and you have the inspiration, and we're both grateful for this to come through you. Now, that just I would love to wrap this up a little. Also inviting the listeners to like move to a similar state as you have moved to. Because as I said, I'm creating an online program which is called Find Your Purpose. And it is based on something that only I can offer, which is my experience. It's the best. It's literally the best of me. And it is the culmination of many decades of insecurities and not knowing what to do, and kind of feeling that something is off, yet still staying in that state out of fear, and then finally breaking out of it. And I know exactly what I did, and I know what worked, and I'm very, very happy to share this with everybody. And if you're interested, just keep following me. Maybe you want to drop a text message. I will, as soon as it is there, I will post it everywhere, and you can have it. It's going to be, the price is going to be ridiculous. It's going to be $200, 200 Swiss francs. Sorry, of course the exchange difference is quite. It's going to be 200 Swiss francs. I already know it, and it's like already the first two chapters are, from my humble perspective, worth way more than $200. They already have the potential to shift your entire existence if you follow through what I'm suggesting there. So yeah, if this is what you're up for,
There you go.
I'm
And if
happy
you have a
to.
soul compass, you can measure
Yeah,
the results.
exactly. Best do it like me, have the combination of the two worlds, and watch yourself rising and being in your full potential.
Amazing.
Susan,
Thank you so much. What a great talk. I love it. It's been
I'm
great.
so grateful. Thank you. And
Sweet.
yeah,
Okay.
that's it for the moment. That's when the outro plays. Da, 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 da. And
Ta-da. Thank
let me
you.
just stay in the call. I'm just
Okay.
stopping.